Hello and welcome everyone to the latest episode of From This Point Forward, a Buffalo Sabres comedy podcast. That's a lot of words. We have a special show here today. We got the draft to talk about with what happened, what hasn't happened. We have Greg Bauch joining us here to promote his book and to talk some Sabres. So we'll have some fun conversation with him. It should be a fun one. We're looking forward to it. Let's go.
Let's acknowledge the fact that in one of your favorite movies of all time, you thought the slogan was "Ducks quack forever" instead of "Ducks fly together."
No,
it's
you also
bad.
think they live in wells. It's the whole theme of the movie, Lou. But he had the duck call.
They go quack.
It would be Malcolm Subban. Mostly because that one season where instead of letting him play for the Sabres for the last game of the year, they had him sing the national anthem. And it was a real, you're under contract. The season is over. We know you've only gotten to be up here a couple of times. How about you come back up here? Oh, great. I'll put my pads in the car. No. You won't need them. Just make sure you warm up the pipes when you're driving down the 90.
Mitch Marner.
You heard it, Mitch. If you want to sign here, you can drill Ryan's mom.
That last clip hurts a little bit more as we get through. I mean, Mitch Marner would have been a good signing. I blame Ryan's mom for not coming through because Mitch Marner ended up being a pretty good signing there in Vegas. Chris, how are you today?
Every day's a gift, Lewis.
You are outside.
Just living in the sweltering.
Trying not to sweat.
Dying. Let's talk hockey.
I figured that's what that was. Why you were outside. It's a very hot time here in Buffalo, New York. Not very frequent, but we are all struggling. Those that do not have central air, like myself, humble brag. Sorry.
Just enjoy this game for the 7 years it has left before there's no ice left on Earth. You know what I mean?
That's it. Just getting through. We should have Mura joining here. He said he was going to try to join us here in a little bit. So he might be able to join, talk about a lot of the stuff that's happened here over the last, what is it? I think we were live a week ago, right? And so much has changed in the week, but we are going to bring on our guest right now, and that is Greg Bauch. Bring in Greg. Greg, how are you today?
Good, guys. Thanks for having me on
Greg.
the show. Hi.
We both know how much you love podcasts and doing podcasts and being part of podcasts and talking about sports, Buffalo sports in podcasts.
I do, but not after a team loses. And there's enough time in between losses happening that I'm fine. This is great. I have no problems. And I'll pot about anything, just not when it hurts.
And I know that was your reason for, eventually leaving In the Hunt. And I know that was hard for you.
We also had 38 people. It was easy to leave In the Hunt.
No.
Really, it's easy to leave an empty room.
You say that, but I we all know I was in Houston when I got recognized for my Italian gambler persona on that podcast in Houston, Texas. And also I still have people reaching out to me that said you got to talk those guys into getting back together.
And they say, "Hey guys,"
I still get a lot of that. Hey guys, but so I understand that. It is funny that we both had similar paths in the start of your Bills podcast and our Sabres. That we started them because of how much of a shit show the team was when we started, and then they both got good immediately. Like you guys started in the hunt, and they got Josh Allen, and then it was good. So it is funny that we started a podcast here this year to kind of be funny and how horrible the Sabres were, and they had a great year.
I don't think I would take another team. Like, your brain erased. You love hockey. Like you come out of the Matrix pod, and Morpheus unplugs you, and you love hockey, but you can pick any team because life isn't real. And you do a little research. What team are you picking? I mean, honest to God, like you take the history, the cool uniforms, that roster, where they're at. Like, you don't want to jump on a bandwagon, but this is a time. Like, I would rather be Buffalo than Edmonton with your Connor McDavid, of course, because rather than Carolina, because why? All the, name the team, Minnesota, Florida. I wouldn't want to be Florida, this is the team. This is the team that I would pick. And of course, I don't know if I don't know if you can erase the fact that I've been a Sabre fan my entire life, but I swear to God, this would be the team I picked.
I think a lot of GMs might say the same thing. Like, all seriousness,
That's a better scenario. That's a better scenario. If you were an NFL GM, which team would you take to pick to take over? Thank you, Louis.
I truly believe it. But you make good points about like the history, and they definitely got bandwagon fans from across the country because of the lovable loser thing, and then the Zach Bensons and the kind of little cool stuff that happened during the playoffs, the couple comebacks and all this stuff that like they did get those bandwagon fans. But I truly think with the point that you make, like I think NHL GMs just looking at pure rosters, contracts, the situation that they're in, Sabres have to be in the top 5. Don't you wouldn't you think so, Chris?
Yeah. I mean, the lovable loser thing is great, but also it's just a team of guys being dudes. Like, it's really one of those, like all the hockey media, your hockey movies, your slap shots where it's like, it's camaraderie, it's goon, it's guys in the locker room. They all kind of have that charm about them. Like, you don't expect anybody to just spin out and scream at the media anymore, or talk about how like they want to murder their wife and children because they no longer feel joy. Like, those personalities are gone.
Unless they're asking Tage Thompson if he's playing with an injury, because I think that was the only real.
That was the closest. That was the closest we got.
But no, you're right. I mean, I think the telling thing about that, and really how this team is and where they're at, is that the two guys that just left your team, Bo Byram, and we'll talk about this more, but Bo Byram said last year was the most fun he's ever played playing hockey. The dude's got a Stanley Cup. Alex Tuck said leaving Buffalo was the most difficult decision of his life. Cool quote, but if any of these rumors are true, and I guess we could start right there, if any of these rumors are true about him getting offered $10 million from the Sabres there at the end, and he chose to go for an extra year, I guess the rumor is 7 years, $10 million from the Sabres. He ends up signing with Washington with the sign and trade, 8 years, 10.5. If it was the hardest decision you ever made, I don't know if you're leaving after over $500,000. I figured the gap was bigger than that. I'm not saying I believe the rumors, but where did you end up on like your thoughts, at least on the whole Tuck situation, Greg?
I mean, there's two ways to look at it. What would I want to happen? I would love Alex Tuck to have been here on $6 million a year for 5 more years, something reasonable, what he should get, and if free agency was what it used to be. There's no way in hell I want him more than 5 years at his age and his playing style. And he was one of my favorite players to watch. I mean, anyone the best thing about hockey, been watching hockey as long as I have, and he takes the puck away in situations where no one takes the puck away. You know, I know he's good offensively, I know he's fast and all that stuff, but the one thing he does, he takes the puck, and Josh Doan does a lot of this too. So I love that. Like, you watch hockey and you fill in the blanks as you're watching. It's like, okay, puck's going here. I know it's going to go here. He changed the game in that style where, like, he would create takeaways in situations where they were never created before. So from a personal standpoint, I just love watching how creative he was defensively and watching him play. And so I liked having him here, but that's going to go away soon. And I don't want another Jeff Skinner situation with the contract. So it was smart. From the standpoint of, like, should Alex Tuck have stayed here if, you know, he was telling the truth all those years about loving Buffalo? Hell yeah. Like, I don't know. It's more money, more term. They like him more. Why wouldn't you go to a place where they like you more? I don't understand, you know, an argument against that. I mean, you can, like, be mad that he's gone, but you can't blame the guy. You can, but I think you're stupid. They liked him more. They wanted him more. Why wouldn't you go to a place where they want you more?
For sure. Chris, I know your thoughts, and you've said them enough, but you could reiterate them here. I guess how it played out, because, you know, we know your thoughts leading in, but how do you think about how it played out?
I get you're kind of worrying about the truth level of his quote, and I have to throw this to you. For a guy who is recognized 2,000 miles away from home for your gambler persona on a podcast and not your real life degeneracy, you wouldn't have made a different decision for $500,000. You can't understand that, Lou?
No, I get what I mean. I never am going to shit on any professional athletes for taking more money. Like, I'm just never going to. I guess my biggest issue with it is I guess I more so don't believe that the Sabres were that close. I think Yarmo was I kind of agree with Greg. I think Yarmo was pretty much like, hey man, if you want to take the Kempe deal, which he got out in LA, which was what, 8.5? Am I right? 8.5, 9? I think it was 8.5. But whatever. If you want to take this deal, this is your comp, and this is how we strongly feel about it. And I think they were adamant about not the 8th year because of Greg, like what he said. Like, I mean, you don't want. I didn't want him for anything more than 5 years either. The league drop off, and we talked about this a little bit last week, in goal scoring after the age of 35 is, like, it's insane. Like, guys are not scoring it, that unless they're named Crosby, Ovechkin, you know, whatever, they're not scoring at a rate. So, like, he's not. He's just not. I don't want to say he's not a good player. I'm not trying to be over dramatic, but, like, I think he's easily replaced. I think, like, a Jared McCann is now being rumored, and I'm just throwing a name from Seattle. He's like Alex Tuck light, and he's going to make 5.5 or over 10.5. I understand the point that everybody's making about, like, oh, you're letting him walk for free, but that is a guy that last year, if he was not on your team, and we talked about this when that came up, is you didn't need to get rid of him at the deadline, because if he wasn't on your team, he'd be the same exact guy you would be trading for. You'd be trading for a UFA with only a few months left on his contract, knowing he might become a free agent. That was the exact thing that the Sabres needed this year. Free agency is stupid, and most guys are getting overpaid. You have 3 guys coming up in Kulich, Ausland, and Hellenius that will easily, take back his goal scored. So, like, I'm totally okay with the idea. I'm actually crazy. It's crazy that they even got a third. Not that, like, a third rounder is anything, but it's more value than I thought they would get, in the sense of, you know, you knew he was leaving. So yeah, I'm totally fine with the Tuck deal. And I guess we could leave that at that. I want to talk about a couple things. One, actually, Greg, before, I don't want to wait too long here to get into it. You are promoting a book here you're doing a book signing on Wednesday locally here at Fatty Beer. Just wrote you just wrote a book I called named Unbelievable, which I'm assuming was about me, but I have not you haven't told me much about it. Can you give us a little bit about the book and the event on Wednesday?
Sure. Can I ask a question first? It's hypothetical. No, not hypothetical. What's that word? Where you can't answer the question.
Rhetorical.
It's rhetorical.
Hey,
I'm not
I don't know if you know this, Greg.
I'm not good with words.
I don't know if you know this, Greg, but I just went to college and got a 4.0, so I'm kind of a big deal. ECC Dean's List. But go ahead.
I heard all the moms are talking about it.
You're the author. Go ahead.
Yes. Start with the question. It's rhetorical. What's stupider, writing a book about a basketball game played in 1972 in Moscow, Idaho during an ice storm, or coming onto a podcast about the Sabres to promote it?
Wait, can I also use my 4.0 scholar?
Sure.
Is it not what's more stupid, or is it stupider?
No,
I'm not trying to correct you. I'm asking you literally for life advice here. Am I right?
More stupid grammatically, but I was speaking colloquially.
I don't know what that means, so you're already smarter than me.
You're off the dean's list.
I'm off the dean's list. That's it. Someone call Dean and let him know. So, all right. So it's about a 1972 basketball.
Sure. I'll be nicer about asking the question. I was trying to be funny. That doesn't work. No, I wrote it's fiction. I wrote a story. I came up with the story about 12 years ago when I was working at WGR to write a story about basically when I was a kid, I first learned, this is not in the book, this is just me, how I get to the story and how I want to talk about a perfect game, like a perfect game being played. In all the thousands of years of sports, there had to have been a perfect game being played just because of, physics or, just like happenstance, it has to happen. And I would always think about perfection as a kid, like who's perfect. And I knew who Babe Ruth was. You're talking about like a 6-7-year-old that's just getting into sports, getting into baseball. And I knew Babe Ruth was the best baseball player that ever existed. So in my mind, without knowing anything about him, I never saw anything. He wasn't on TV or anything then because he was dead. But it was, Babe Ruth. Babe Ruth is great. Then I started getting into like books, and then I read about Babe Ruth's batting average, and it was like 300. And I was like, well, what the hell? Like, I thought he was the best player ever. This guy strikes out 2 times out of every 3 times at the play. That's bullshit. Like, this guy isn't good at baseball. He sucks. So there's always this bee in my bonnet about perfection and like sports and like how the greats aren't really perfect. So along the line somewhere when I was at GR, just the idea of the story popped in my head about a perfect game being played. And it led to being played in Moscow. It led to being played in 1972. There's not lots of reasons for that. And I'm not just going to keep answering everything by saying you have to read the book, but you'd understand it if you read the book. But basically, I got an idea for a story a long time ago, and I wrote it down, and it just kept coming back up. And I've written other things since then, and this one wouldn't go away. And in the last year and a half, I hammered it out, and it really came into form. And I'm super happy with it. It's not what I normally write. If you know me from Bachelor recaps, I used to write like 6-page long Bachelor recaps that were just me vomiting, similes and stuff like that. This is an actual book. It's an actual story. It's not quite nonsense, although there's some of that in there. So it's a kind of a departure from what I normally do.
And Wednesday, you're doing an event at Fatty Beer to promote it and book signing thing, right?
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that.
I live in Wheatfield. So the Fatty Beer at Wurlitzer is my fatty. I have a mug there. Portions of the book, lots of portions were written there over a beer or two. Like I would be just like my weekend stop at the laptop type stuff. And I know the owner, Teresa. I used to work with Teresa, so it seemed like a good place to go. There's going to be World Cup American soccer action going on at the time, which is good because then if no one shows up, the place is going to be raucous. Like it's going to be full of people for my book signing. So like, you can't
yeah, either way, you can show a good picture.
As someone who has done stand-up comedy in front of 2 people who are both my parents, I'm no stranger to no crowds, but I'm expecting a little better than that for this. So that's at Fatty Wurlitzer, 908 Niagara Falls Boulevard in the Wurlitzer building in NT from 6 to 8 on Wednesday the 1st.
And if they can't get there, is there other places they can find the book?
There are, yes. My website is gregbauch.com. Bauch is the German word for stomach, if that helps. Just in case you're listening and not paying attention, I put it in the chat for Louis. But gregbauch.com has the information. It's available on Amazon. It's coming to bookstores locally. I'm going to be doing more events than just this one. I'm going to do some bookstore signings and stuff like that. But No Frills Buffalo is my publisher. They have it on their site as well. They've been awesome. Super happy with Mark from No Frills and how he helped me as well. So he helped it all come together. So it's been a lot of fun. But those many places to get it, they're all accessible through gregbauch.com.
Awesome. Stick with us a few minutes. Talk a little bit more Sabres before you go.
Yeah, I'm here, man.
Right,
I love
cool.
the
quick
hockey.
follow up on the book.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Chris.
You gave where it's available online. This isn't a question for Lou because, as we know, he went to college once and did okay. Is it available in audiobook format?
I'm glad, and you know what? I'm actually glad. If you don't mind, 2 more minutes of me talking about this. There's a play-by-play character in the book. Back when I was on GR, I used to do a play-by-play character called Greg Bauch, and he had an annoying voice like this. He was just like an old-timey type of announcer, and part of the story of Unbelievable, there's an announcer named Bob Bolt that kind of makes the story all come together. He's like this weaselly little guy that, he might be considered the antagonist of the story. He's at least one of them, but he announces this basketball game. He makes it famous. And he has, in my mind, he has the Greg Bauch voice. So I was doing the audio version and I was trying to decide whether or not to do that voice for the audiobook. Because there's people that might know me from GR that buy this book. Most people that buy this book will know me. So they'll know Greg Bauch unless this makes it big. Knock on wood. But, people that don't know the Greg Bauch character are going to get the audiobook. And they're going to hear this for pages on end. And they're going to be like, oh, my God, please stop doing that. But I decided to go with that. So I did the audio version of the book. It's, in the final preparations, it's going to be uploaded. Should be available by the 1st, but if not soon. So if it's not there when you're looking, go back soon. It will be there. But I did the voice. You have to decide. Do you want to do voices? And some people I don't do audiobooks myself. So I did some research into this. Like some people, it's like down the middle. People either hate it or they love it if you do different voices for your characters. So I guess I'm going to be set up for hate. So you kind of change your voice as you're doing this. You're doing different characters. It made sense to me to like give this guy a high voice, give this guy a low voice, because you're differentiating. So again, this doesn't matter to you, Louis. It's about books, but you have to decide what to do in terms of like changing your cadence. I decided to do voices. I hope I did a good job with it. I know the Greg Bauch / Bob Bolt voice is in there, and it's like crazy. So I'm probably going to get some hate, but yes, thank you, Chris. I appreciate that. Audio version is going to be available.
Minus that dig that you just took at me. I was about to say how lucky I feel for our friendship. I was going to say that before that mean thing, but I want to give you, and I've had to say this to you in private, but I'll say it publicly a few times, no doubt about it, the Greg Bauch thing was the best thing on radio for like a few, like it was, I need to hear everything that Greg Bauch. I remember asking you to do a guest bartending thing before I was even in the comedy, and you came, and it was because
is that how we met? No, we met before that. I think
we had met before that a couple times, but I had, shortly after we met, asked you to do that because I had, that was it. That point, I was in sports broadcasting at that point. I just absolutely love that bit. It's one of the funniest things ever. I know my manager from like 2 years ago at the company that I own. I like put him on, and he will still like text me, this is the funniest Greg Bauch clip ever. So I don't think it's just your claim for fame, but it is one of the best things. I always give you credit for that. And one thing that most people in the world will hate you for is that day that you did come and guest bartend with me, I was like, I always want to do stand-up, and you're like, you should do it. And so all of Buffalo has you to blame, because shortly thereafter, and I give you all right,
Greg. Well, it was nice talking to you.
I don't know if you want that credit, but I feel like I always give it to you when everybody asks what made you want to do it. It was Greg Bauch said I should do it. So I love that story. And as you said, you only have 30 minutes. I'm stretching that story into a couple more minutes before we talk Sabres. But you look awkward with the compliment, so I'll just move on. But
my heart is warm, Louis.
I know you. I tell you constantly.
I'll tell you what about that night. It made me want to be a bartender. Like I've never had more fun working than that night, and not just like the hustle. Like it's not like I was there drinking, just having like I went to work. I was probably the hardest working celebrity bartender ever. Like I was ready to bar back. I was hustling.
You were legit. You were like, no, I'm not just doing this just to talk. I want to know how to bartend. I want to learn it. I remember you saying that.
Because I was on radio and I knew I was going to be fired soon.
There was people that like made you do the Greg Bauch voice as you were serving them, which was really funny. Like, like here comes the vodka. Yeah, whatever. I'm not going to try to do Greg Bauch, but you literally were doing Greg Bauch.
Do it. Come on, let me hear it. Plumer. It's almost Plumer's normal voice, so he can do it easily.
You actually played it off.
I'm Chris Plumer here in Buffalo doing comedy. Land sakes.
I'm to blame for Louis G bartending and doing comedy. It's my fault.
That is a mixture between Greg Bauch and Bane. Whatever you just did was
Citizens of Gotham.
100%. All right, we should talk some Sabres on the Sabres podcast. Let's start with draft day here in Buffalo. Big, was obviously local, and we a week ahead of time did not think it was going to be a big thing for us, and then it certainly turned into it when we make the Bo Byram trade and get the number 4 pick. Was the Byram trade before our last episode? No, it was after. It was
like the next day.
So I guess let's start there before we talk about Justin Bieber. We can talk about the Sabres. No one in Buffalo, Chicago, Toronto, California, Bosnia, no one thought that wasn't a great trade by the Sabres. It feels insane. The one thing I keep coming back to that I'll make this point and then go to you guys on how you felt about the trade, or it could spin in any other way than it was amazing. But not only did they give up that haul for Byram, but they gave up that haul for Byram to make him the highest paid defenseman in the league. So it's not like you give up that haul and now you're also giving him that contract. It's all insane to me. Yarmo steals that. I know we're going to talk about maybe some disappointment after that, but original thoughts on the Byram trade, Chris?
It was incredible, and I think it actually screwed up some of the draft day, the rumored trades in the works on draft day, because it was such a lopsided trade. I think everybody started thinking, what are we giving these guys away for peanuts for? It was an incredible deal for the Sabres, though. Loved every second of it. Not disappointed in the aftermath of it. I'm fine with how everything shook out. Go Sabres.
Greg,
I'm gonna take the point of view of the Chicago Blackhawks GM, whose name I don't know. Act surprised from this point forward.
It's got to be a Bowman. It's got to be a Bowman, right? They're all Bowmans.
Scotty Stan,
somebody's
Franz, whatever.
France.
The Chicago GM is like someone who did stand up for the first time, and he had a really good reaction, so he went up to do it a second time. And then he traded with Yarmo. Like it's like that man's never going to trade again. Like he just got pants so bad and read the headlines. And he's like, I thought it was a pretty good deal. No, you shouldn't be doing this. Just pack your shit and go away. It was cute the way you tried to GM before this, but here's a little bag with a toothbrush in it, and now put all your stuff on a stick with a handkerchief and walk down the railroad, because you should never trade in this league again.
he asked his mom, who was in the audience, like, how did you? And,
His mom's like, oh, I gotta use the
not
bathroom.
great, not great, but honey, keep trying. Yeah, it was, it built so much, obviously, excitement for the day, and I guess we'll talk about the fact that they don't end up making a deal for either of those first, and that maybe knocks down a little bit of that excitement. They do move 45 as in a deal for Zellweger, who I think is a way bigger addition than anyone's really giving credit for. And I think that was a really good move and part of it. And the only thing that I'm mad about, I'm not the guy that, like, because I want to call him Mason Rudolph. Jackson Rudolph was not in the top 5 for most mock drafts. I don't care. The GMs and the scouts know way more than me. None of us could pretend like we watched any of these kids besides McKenna before the day of the draft. I'm not even going to shit on an overdraft that likes the guy. What I think my biggest problem is, and especially hearing the rumors today that the Hellebuyck thing was close and that he waived his no trade. I don't even love the idea of Hellebuyck, but because you stole the Byram deal, I feel like this could have been a loss. You could have felt like you were not 100% winning this trade in the 4th pick overall to add to this team this year. And it seems like he stuck pretty close to his grounds of like, no, if I don't get a deal that I find is amazing again, I'm not going to do it. I guess thoughts on that, Greg?
I had a theory that he thought the Winnipeg trade was going to happen, and then at the last second it didn't, and the clock was running out. So it was like, oh, shit. And then he looked down in a magazine and said, Jackson. Or that was who Winnipeg wanted, and so they took them thinking a trade might happen afterwards. Or he's just the best defenseman in the scout's eyes, and that's it. The kid's not going to play for another 2 years. So, everything I've read about him seems fine, but like I have no friggin' idea. But
I love that point though that you just said, because that maybe that he was like, hey, who would you have taken? I'll take that person, thinking that we still have some kinks to figure out. And maybe, reports are today from Elliot Friedman that like, that's not dead yet. So I love that point. That's not even something I thought of, that like, if they were like, who would you have taken? And Yarmo even would be, okay, he's second or third on my list right now, so I wouldn't hate keeping him if that we don't work this out. I think that's a really good point. Chris, thoughts on how that all shook down?
I like that point about if that's who they were going to pick. I also I don't mind keeping it making the draft pick, because as we saw with the late season third pair shuffling and even into the playoffs, they need some D-men that they're going to develop in the future. It serves 2 purposes. If it is somebody that Winnipeg is interested in, that's great. If not, they do need young defensemen in their system for a handful of years down the road. I wasn't disappointed at all. I don't give a shit about draft ratings, especially with the NHL.
Yeah.
Outside of the top 3 picks, nobody should be in the league for 2 years anyways. I know it happens. Sometimes guys surprise you, but it's not like they were going into this and they passed over some insane need that they have.
No, I totally agree. And there was nobody, I don't think, no one's calling that Reed kid. Obviously, when everybody's like, oh, they passed on Reed. Well, 6 teams pass on Reed. Like, whatever, other teams pass on Reed. At the end of the day, I don't think that there was anybody at that point that would be NHL ready. And I know that that's what they want. I really like Greg's point that maybe they thought that this guy, because maybe even it wasn't even Winnipeg saying that they liked him, but he is considered, I think, from most of the scouting reports I see, like the highest ceiling of anybody that was still available. His offensive skills are amazing. They don't know if he'll ever turn into a good defender, but maybe because of the high ceiling that they think that they can get more from him in a trade. I don't think that that's that. Go ahead, Greg.
6 teams passed on Reed, as you said. This is one Reed you don't want to pass on, which is unbelievable. Available at gregbauch.com. I just needed to get that in there.
An unbelievable plug.
An unbelievable plug right there.
They said it couldn't happen.
Before we let you go, Justin Bieber was all over Buffalo, if you believe artificial intelligence. He did stop in for a couple minutes. And I wasn't even watching. I was out and about with my daughter, so I didn't see. I heard that there was a lot of intoxication there, but Justin Bieber in Buffalo, is that maybe the first time ever? Or were you envious that you were not at the NHL draft with Justin Bieber? Chris?
No.
Simple answer. You guys both will say this about me. You know how I know I'm a hack is I was like, I saw that and I was out and about and I was like, oh, I'm going to go home later and make an AI picture of me and Justin Bieber. And by the time I got home, every business in Buffalo had already done that. And I was like, you know what? Not too hacky for me. You
should have made one of him working for Home Handyman for a day.
Like on the
I was gonna
on the roof.
I was gonna make an AI generated picture of me with Justin Bieber, but I decided one day I might want drinking water.
We're all gonna die, Greg. We're all gonna die.
Not soon enough.
We're all gonna die with robots. I want to mention this story because I think Greg, you'll have some fun with this before I let you go. But so there was the twin brothers, and now I'm not even going to remember their names. Anybody have it?
Oh, Tomas and Zamat from G.I. Joe.
They both went to.
Come on, Plumer got it.
I got it. I was trying to move on, trying to find this. Let's see. Hold on. Ruck. Their last names were Ruck, not Russ. Not to be. They did go to the Penguins, so not to be confused by my favorite Penguin, Brian Rust. But the Ruck brothers. I was at a party, so they Pittsburgh takes them first round, and I was at the party the next day. Before the second round started, and my girlfriend's father works security for the Sabres, and he was telling me the story, but I didn't know anything about these twins yet because, again, I haven't paid attention to the draft, thinking that it wasn't important for the Sabres. Who is that? I was like, oh, that doesn't look like hockey players. I was like, the 4.0. And
this is my next tattoo.
So he's telling me the story about how he's watching, that's security, and they're going down that harbor center. He sees one of them go down the harbor center, and he's like roller skating through that, and then 20 minutes later he comes by again roller skating from the same side that only had one exit, and he's like, the fuck, how does this kid do it? And then quickly realize that they were twin brothers. And then and 20 minutes after he's telling me the story, Penguins draft the brother. They have never played hockey separated, kind of like the Sedin brothers. Hopefully,
that's what it reminded me of. I still can't believe that the second and third pick of the draft, like the teams, it almost seemed like the league colluded to make that happen. And I'm sure, like, maybe there'll be a 30 for 30 for that someday. And I'm talking about the Sedin twins. Like, they were super good. That was like, there hasn't been a draft pick talk like them. Like, it would have been like, Crosby came way after the Sedin twin, not way after, but after the Sedin twins. I'm trying to think of like Celebrini, like these high draft picks. Like, it wasn't quite a McDavid, but it might have been like 2 Celebrinis available. And somehow Vancouver was able to trade up to get the second and third pick. And I'll always believe it was because the NHL asked all of the GMs to make that happen, which is still incredible to me.
Greg, this is a Pete Bray. This is a really funny story. So We during the he says turn on YouTube, see you guys at the Cracks Open Sack. Big fan here. During the Sabres Canadians podcast, we somehow, some way, unintentionally became a Canadians podcast. Pete is from Montreal. There's about 6 or 7 of them that we're just in every day talking shit, but like in a good way, and they're still
Friendly
watching.
shit.
So maybe we're one of two things is
Well,
happening. Either we're making more Sabres fans or we're a Canadians podcast. We don't know.
I love their
I'm
city.
I'm a Sabres fan now. So there it is. Okay, so he's Sabres.
I love their city. I'll be back there in September.
The best city in the world. I've never had more fun in a
all right.
I've never had more fun in a weekend trip than Montreal.
You've also been to 4 cities, and that's not a knock on Montreal. It's not that you can't. It's not that Montreal isn't the best city. It's an amazing city, but you can't say that because you've been to Vegas, Cheektowaga, Montreal, and Buffalo.
Cancun a lot, but that's not saying anything
not a city,
anymore.
That's
not saying much anymore.
Stint in St. Petersburg, Florida.
Oh.
Greg, we kept you longer than I said I would. I'm so glad that you came on, and I showed you the other day when you came to support me in a comedy contest and didn't vote for me, and then I lost. I said that day, I have in my calendar your book thing, and I'm going to be there.
Oh, wow.
And then I bought tickets to Jack Johnson in Canandaigua. So I will not be there, but I will be there in spirit. And I do want a book and signed by you.
That's fine. Enjoy the same 15 songs. That's way more important than my book signing, but that's fine.
Supporting my friend. I know.
And the good news is while you're listening to Jack Johnson and his other song, just go to gregbauch.com, GREGBAUCH, and you can order it and actually read while Jack Johnson's playing. So,
Greg, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I super appreciate it. This is my first plug, so way to go, Chris.
I love you. Good luck on Wednesday, and maybe during the season when you feel like yelling about sports, you'll come back on.
Sounds good. Love you.
All right. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye, Greg.
Hi. Sorry. I know you didn't talk much because I talked too much, and then Greg plugged this book so much, and it's gotten so dark behind you.
We're still recording.
Still recording. The Zellweger move. I know we kind of didn't talk much about that, but super underrated, and for the price, I thought was amazing.
I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see what he can bring to a defensive core like we have. Like, he looked good at times. He's still up and coming. He's got crazy wheels on that back end, and I think you can throw him with pretty much anybody back there. I'm excited to see him. Now, he's a guy that I wouldn't mind getting on to a power play unit and seeing him wheel around end to end, give him almost that Quinn Hughes role.
I think he won't be on the top one, but I do think he probably takes Byram's spot on the second one. I was kind of excited about Power getting that possibility, because I do think Power has some offensive ability that's not untapped yet, and I was kind of excited with Byram's removal that he might get that, but I think Zellweger probably jumps right into that. His metrics are great. Have you thought about what this contract looks like? It's probably going to be a bridge because of his age. I feel like somebody asked me that the other day, and I had trouble thinking of what his comp was, and didn't want to sound stupid, but I think it's going to be like a 3-year, $5.5 to $6 million deal.
I was kind of thinking around 6.
Right? I think that's probably where it comes in. And I haven't seen anybody that knows more about that than me talk about it. But I think that's probably where it comes in. Hopefully hopefully we get that information soon. I don't think that I think one thing that they've made clear, and I think that's part of why some of these deals have not happened that may have happened, is like, I think anybody that they're signing, they don't want to have another Tuck situation, right? Like they don't want to have a 1 year and done thing. And so I think that gets done probably pretty quickly here. They did offer him a qualifying offer today and Krebs, but that just buys him some more time to work out a deal.
Yeah.
All the other guys didn't get one, but no one expected anything different. I do want to take a second to mention our sponsor, validad.com. Chris, I don't know if you got your hat yet, you cat dad that you are in, but Valid Dad is a brand created to empower fathers and reflect the values of strength, commitment, and authenticity. We exist to highlight the importance of active fatherhood and celebrate the men who show up to their families day in and day out. Through their designs, they honor real fatherhood and inspire the next generation to lead with purpose, strength, and pride. Stay valid. Go to validdad.com. Put in promo code not your uncle, spelled not Y-O-U-R, your uncle, or you can click on the thing that's down there below the link, validdad.com/not your uncle for 10% off coupon. What? You're laughing at me? Did I fuck that up? Why are you laughing so hard? I crushed that. I feel like I crushed that. I said that thing down there.
The link in the description.
Yeah, the link in the description.
Also, we should have had Greg Bauch do the ad read.
Oh my God. Can we bring him back in? That is so, we definitely fucked that up. Next week, I'm going to say, hey, we promoted your book. You got to come on only to do. Oh, I'll just have his record. I'll just have him do a recording and that will be it. That will be I'll just play it.
We're live. Don't tell them how the sausage is made. Pete's going to be very disappointed next week.
Don't tell him how the sausage is made is great. All right. Well, I don't think we're going to get joined by Ryan, but we can kind of. There's so much more that has happened in these 2 weeks is insane. We touch base, but the Rudolph and Morozov picks, like, again, I'm not. Like, looks like you're trying to convince your kid you're their father and not their uncle. Funny. Sorry, I'm like saying that. That's Pete there. I'm just not going to shit on picks. It is funny that when they moved up from 27 to 20, like there were people in the know, like Chad D and like stuff like that, were like, oh yeah, this is for Morozov because he like falls right in that end of that top 20. And you know, they were on that right away. I'm not going to shit on the Rudolph pick. I like Greg kind of like threw me for a loop right there, making that point. Like, I wonder if Winnipeg's like, hey, we're going to get this done. Maybe it's a situation where the Sabres need to get rid of UPL because they didn't want to take UPL back, or they didn't want to take Norris back because they needed to like get rid of some contract, and they were like, no, I don't want this piece. Maybe they're both confident that it still happens, and they were like, this is the guy I want. I did make that point a few times, like, hey guys, just because they use the picks doesn't mean that these guys are on the team forever. They could get traded next week.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you read up on either of them at all?
Really.
I mean,
I had heard a little bit about Morozov, which also I kept thinking he was Ilya, what's his face from Heated Rivalry.
The bigot, right? Isn't he a bigot?
Yeah.
Is he a Nazi now? Is that
No,
the Nazi?
I don't know.
The other one's a Nazi. One of them's a
The other
Nazi.
one-
I don't know which one.
They're both weird, but good for them. And Daxon, the only research I did on Daxon Rudolph, who I thought was Daxon Randolph most of Friday night, is the picture that he took. We lost the old vampire in Alex Tuck, but we got a young, sexy vampire. Daxon Rudolph has vampire teeth. It's a little disturbing. But also, I like, and you're saying he might never become a good defenseman. I like a top level first round of the draft hockey prospect whose family either didn't have the money to fix his teeth or didn't want to waste the time to fix his teeth, and he just kept cruising through development because that shows work ethic.
Did you see the meme of his face when he got drafted by Buffalo? And I'm sure it was because he was super ecstatic to be drafted fourth and wasn't expecting it. He even said in an interview he thought he was going 6 to 10, maybe whatever. So, I think it was earlier than what he expected, but it is really, it was like a face of full shock. And it was, the joke was like, oh man, I got to stay here. Like, this is where I live now. Man, that kind of sucks. No, it feels, and this is how I live life. You know that. You mentioned my gambling degeneracy. I want the high ceiling always. I want to take the risk on the gamble, and he feels like that. And if it doesn't hit, it doesn't hit. It almost feels like a free pick because of the Byram, how good the Byram trade was. I'm fine with it. And then even turning into the other pick in that Zellweger, like it could be one of those things, not for nothing, not to like make every trade compared to this, but it could be a thing where if he doesn't pan out and people talk about this trade in 10 years, they'll be like, oh yeah, but Zellweger was a great Saber, and so they hit on that part. And so, who knows? But
they hit on freeing up $4.5 million in cap space along in that trade. Everybody keeps forgetting that Greenway contract is gone and we're free.
And not only is it gone, but like that, we talked about this on the podcast last week. It was going to be something that you would have had to pay, to get rid of. So not only did you have to pay, but it almost was added as a sweetener, which was absolutely insane. Let's get through some of these little things that have happened this past week. The Hellebuyck stuff is one, it's been going on too long to not be true. Chad D has been on it, who I feel like probably is, I feel like he's the most connected with what the Sabres are doing at times. It feels like he's got the best handle on what they're doing. So, he knows that happened. The reports are that he did 100% waive his no trade clause to come to Buffalo, that even if this thing doesn't work out and doesn't happen, that's a huge sign for where this organization is. You got the best goalie in the league waiving his no trade clause to be part of your organization. So even if it doesn't turn out, great move. The rumor deal was for Quinn. Pick number 4. I don't want to say 4. Pick number 4, Quinn, a high prospect and another rostered player. A lot of people are saying Oslin and Hellenius in that. If it's Oslin, I'm fine. Maybe if it's Hellenius, I'm not. Thoughts on like what that looked like, why it fell apart, and do you think there's still life? Because I truly believe there's still life there.
It does feel like there's a little bit of life left to it. It's tough. It's tough to gauge some of these alleged offerings because you don't really get is this the offer from the team or is this what the other team was hinting that they would find acceptable? That gets lost in the shuffle sometimes. I hate the idea of it being both of those guys. One of them would sting. I think losing 2 of them. We talked about it last week with it. It's not that I'm out on Hellebuyck, but I don't think you need to torch your roster for could better goaltending have gotten them farther? Yes, absolutely. But this feels like a wild overcorrection if you're going to clear house that much for a goalie who maybe is, he's 33. He's not ancient, but he has been injured more the past couple of years. He gets ridden hard in Winnipeg. it would be a tough pill to swallow if it was a deal like that. So like I'm cautiously optimistic that it's not dead in the water, but I think the longer it goes on, the better it looks for the Sabres and the less they might have to give up, because I think other teams that are calling and asking might start making other plans if it's not serious for them.
Yeah. I don't know if there's going to be another team in that, but maybe not. It feels like, honestly, everything and all of the conversation has been around the Sabres. Like, you haven't heard of another team really involved in that, which is,
I know Carolina said that they were no longer going to see if it was an option.
I don't know. I felt this way. We talked about it last week. Like, I just don't want to invest a lot of money or assets into a goalie, but it doesn't feel good about going in with the same group. You have to get rid of UPL in any of this, and that if they won't take him back, then maybe that's part of what the holdup was, that they wouldn't take him back in this, and you have to find a suitor. There's been too much smoke, and I think it really might end up happening. It is funny. I saw somebody tweet this the other day that it's pretty insane that the Sabres could end up getting, in the next few days, the best American goalie of all time and the best American player of all time, because I think we haven't mentioned this too much, but we have talked about this maybe even last offseason. And I know you and I have, just as fans of the Sabres off the thing. It's just like Patrick Kane made a lot of sense these last 2 years, and he didn't come. He did go to Detroit both times. It felt like he made sense, but I think he ends up here. I didn't realize how close him and DeBrincat's kids are. So like that was part of, obviously they play in Chicago together. Part of the reason why they linked back up in Detroit, that their kids have always played together hockey. There's been rumors that DeBrincat is in trade rumors here to Buffalo. They trade for him and then get Kane. My God. I mean, DeBrincat probably looks like a hefty deal that you're going to lose one of those guys that we swear we don't want to lose. Yeah. But I don't know. I've said this over and over again. I would hate Hellenius on the way out, but you bring me a superstar on the way back. It's what you got to do to win games, man. What is DeBrincat? What is DeBrincat? Forget the goalie. Same goalie situation, and DeBrincat and Kane come. Where are we for favorites to win the Stanley Cup?
Can I
Top
get
five?
DeBrincat, and Kane can just move back to South Buffalo, but he's not on the team.
He comes back to South Buffalo just so his kids can
That's
play.
It. He just bartends part-time at the Irish Center. He bartends part-time at the Irish Center. He coaches like Pee-wee level of Southtown Stars League. And we get DeBrincat.
I don't think that kid should be allowed around any kids. He's not a kid anymore. He's our age. But yeah, I don't think he should be allowed around any children for sure. So, but that is funny. Just that he has to go back to South Buffalo. And they give him a $2 million salary to get DeBrincat to come here.
He pay him $2 million to sit at the corner of Doc Sullivan's. He can run the Sabres watch parties there.
As long as they bring us in for the podcast. Man, there's so much more. I mean, we didn't talk about any of the big trades in the league. Was the Tkachuk trade after our last podcast? I think it was.
Maybe. I think it might have happened that day.
Yeah, we haven't gotten into.
We were yelling about other stuff.
We were yelling.
I was yelling about other stuff.
And I know he's one of your favorite players, so we'll have to talk about that next podcast. I don't see a situation where we're not here next Monday, because or maybe even sooner if a lot happens on July 1st. But big stuff's I truly believe that something big is still happening. without it, let's end it here because this is a good question somebody asked me the other day. It's hard to think that right now, status quo, where the roster is, and we all know that it's going to add. But right now, today, is it in a better season-long situation than it was going into last year? And I want to say yes. I think Zellweger, the Chicago defenseman, and then Hellenius, Oslin, and Kulik for a whole year is a plus over Tuck and Byram. Thoughts on that?
I don't disagree with that. That's a tough one because going into last season, we had different roster questions and concerns.
And we thought we were going to get Kulik too,
Yeah.
So maybe that's,
I mean, the new Boston Bruin, JJ Peterka, was the gaping hole in the roster going into last year. I just think based off kind of the happy questions that we're going into this season with, like it's not like we're worried about young guys who are lost. We're looking to see who will take the next step, and I think the guys that you have that are NHL ready are a little more firm than you were last year. Those fringe guys, that third pair guy, that middle lower six lineup. Losing again, the Greenway thing is huge to me. Just that alone, not paying $4.5 million to a fourth liner who's going to play 48 to 60 games for you. I think stuff like that puts your roster in a better situation.
100%. We somehow got an hour into this podcast, didn't even talk about the power of friendship and being in Boston and Kevin Adams and Peterka. We will do that next week. Or maybe sooner if things happen and we need to do an emergency pod. Stay tuned to us at Saves Drought Pod on X and Not Your Uncle's Pod Network on YouTube. We will let you know when we are coming back. For Chris Plumer, I'm Louis G. Go buy Greg Bauch's book on Wednesday at Fatty Beer. I won't be there, so buy 2 and send me a copy. I will.
GregBauch.com.
GregBauch.com. See you guys later.